Hey, brother.
Hey, brother.
All right, so today we were going to talk about Return of the Jedi. We're going to give it the Brando's missing treatment.
Okay.
And then we were going to guess each other's desert island movies.
Okay.
And then we were going to be reinventing the wheel, talking about a movie, writing a movie without a protagonist.
Yeah.
So to start with Return of the Jedi, Brando's missing. Do you want me to explain real quick what Brando's missing, what the Brando's missing treatment is?
Yeah, explain what that is.
Okay, so in The Godfather 2, there's this flashback scene around the dinner table that has all of the original characters in it, all the characters from the first movie. And Marlon Brando was supposed to be in that scene. He was supposed to reprise his role as Vito. The day of filming, he just didn't show up. So they had to completely rewrite the scene on the day and just write it without him in it. So that was sort of the idea, is just if we take another movie and go back in time a little bit, let's say that at some point in the movie, the character just doesn't show up, the actor just doesn't show up to work.
Yeah. Okay, so so in Star Wars, we're now talking about Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
Where Luke falls down, he gets his hand cut off by Vader, he falls down the hole. Then let's just say Mark Hamill never shows up on set again.
Right, exactly.
So the last thing you see is Luke falling, and now they have to, in Return of the Jedi, they have to write in that Luke died in Empire Strikes Back, since Mark Hamill never shows up. And now, what does Return of the Jedi look like if you don't have Luke Skywalker in it?
Right.
Yeah. The crazy thing is all the directions you can actually take it in.
Okay.
But there's a lot that's going to happen. Like your whole opening scene with Jabba's palace potentially doesn't happen.
Right.
Because without Luke, we're probably not going to have this try and rescue him attempt.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. So really, what you're going to have is more like a scene with Lando going in more in a diplomatic fashion. Either Lando or Leia going in a diplomatic fashion.
He's there for negotiations.
Yeah, they're just there to see what can we do to get Captain Solo back.
Yeah.
And then Jabba's going to be like, nothing.
Yeah.
No, this guy now is a representative of what happens if you mess with me.
Yeah.
And I'm never letting him go.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, we can't risk resources. We can't risk rebel resources to rescue this one guy when we have all these other problems. And then they just have to abandon him.
Huh.
Yeah.
So Han's out. He's just...
So, yeah, Han would not be in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing that I find hard to deal with is what do you do with Yoda? Because now Yoda and Ben Kenobi have already mentioned that there's another person, and they're talking about Princess Leia. They mentioned this in Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
And they're talking about Princess Leia, but Leia hasn't had any Force training at all.
Right.
So can Ben Kenobi as a Force ghost even communicate with her? Does she need to have some kind of an antenna built up?
Yeah. She doesn't have a Force receiver.
Yeah, this hasn't even happened for her yet. So can Ben Kenobi, even as a Force ghost, influence her or appear to her? Or is this just something that no, you need at least a minuscule amount of Force training before I could even start trying to communicate with you?
Yeah.
So is Yoda out, or does Yoda, now have a scene with Ghost Ben Kenobi where Ben Kenobi's I think it's over, and Yoda's we have another chance. Maybe I have to. Does Yoda leave planet?
Yeah.
To try and get in touch with Leia.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he would have to, because it's set up in The Empire Strikes Back because he says there's another.
Yes.
It suggests that Yoda doesn't just have hope that there's another, but maybe a plan with the other.
Yes.
So I would think that if he says that, it's hey, if Luke dies, I'll go get Leia.
Yeah. So
You
does,
know?
yeah, does Yoda find a way off planet to go and try and get in touch with Leia?
I would think
Meanwhile,
so.
Yoda is dying.
Yeah.
Like Yoda's on a
Yeah.
time limit here.
Yeah. Yeah. He's on the clock.
Yeah. So does this movie does Return of the Jedi happen even sooner? Because I think there's a little bit of time in between where
Oh.
Luke kind of goes through like a little bit more training to become like a Jedi, before
Yeah.
they end up rescuing Han. So does this happen a little bit sooner where now Yoda, maybe like where we pick up at Leia is like on time with Return of
Yeah.
the Jedi, but where we pick up with Yoda is actually pre all this stuff.
It might move the entire timeline up because if Luke dies, then he doesn't go back to Dagobah.
Yes.
So Yoda is like, Luke's dead. I got to go get Leia.
Yeah.
So all that time that Luke spends training, that might actually be time that Yoda's training Leia,
Yes.
which means
Yeah.
that there's still a shot, there's still a chance for there to be a rescue attempt on Han, just with Leia now as the Jedi.
Yeah. I think there's not enough time to train Leia.
Okay,
I think because I feel like
Luke's been getting training since A New Hope.
yeah, to a certain degree,
Yeah,
So I don't know if there's enough time to train Leia, and I feel like the whole strategy now changes. And here's what I think the strategy is. Yoda, I think, is if let's say Yoda finds a way off planet, he finds a way of meeting up with Leia. If they have some whatever conversation where he's like, I was training your brother, Luke, and
Yeah.
she's like, Luke's my brother,
yeah,
like, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, now I get it,
Yeah.
Then he's telling her, like, there's another thing, like, Vader's your father.
yeah.
And she's like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. I
Yeah.
think the plan now is Yoda is like, I need you to join with Vader to destroy the Emperor, because Vader now is the only one who can do it, who could pull this off.
Right.
Like, you need to join with Vader, destroy the Emperor, rule the Empire with Vader, and then once Vader dies, you now can take over and run it the way you want to run it, so long as along the way you don't turn to darkness, to the dark side. And I think that's the strategy, because you're not going to be able to beat like what it took for Luke to get to the point where like now you can even fight Vader.
Yeah.
She's never going to get there in that amount of time.
Yeah.
She's not Rey, for crying out loud.
Well, who is?
Yeah, no, Rey could do it. Yoda could, yeah. Rey could beat Yoda. Rey would just kick Yoda. Wouldn't stand a chance. But yeah, like so I think the whole strategy changes where it's like now like you're gonna have to make some really hard choices, but this is the best of the bad choices.
Yeah.
This is the only path to go, and your only option is to actually get Vader to sort of join with you now.
Yeah.
And be like, with the like that addendum of like, you're gonna potentially be training me in the Force, and you're gonna get trained by Vader now in the Force, and you have to find a way of not turning to the dark side along this journey while he's going to be kind of ruling the galaxy for a little bit. But he's injured. He's probably not going to last very long.
He's got a time limit too.
Yeah. He's not. He's got maybe like another 20 years in him, where now Leia's going to be like in her 40s ruling. For the next 40 years. So it's going to work out in the end, but it's going to be a hard price to pay. But we can't defeat the Emperor otherwise.
Yeah. I do like, them kind of pinning their hopes on Vader.
Yeah.
And like maybe counting on Leia to be the one that flips him, the one that like turns him over.
Yes.
I do like that. I don't know that if Yoda would want to risk Vader being a ruler for like a decade or two, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that that there's something there where it's like you can have Leia kind of.
Yeah.
She's now trying to flip her father back over to the light side, and then I also like the idea of there being maybe like fireside chats with Obi-Wan Kenobi, where it's like Vader and Kenobi are talking. Because Kenobi can Force Ghost.
Yeah.
And Vader can receive.
Yeah.
And so now, like, Kenobi's trying to, like, sway his heart, too. And they're having, like, heart-to-hearts, and they're having, like, talks.
Yeah.
And Kenobi keeps showing up, like, when in Vader's chambers and stuff, and, like, and talking to him, and he's, like...
Yeah.
So, like, Kenobi's also trying to kind of, like, sway his heart and tell him, like...
I love the idea of it.
Yeah.
But I feel like it goes against canon in that why didn't Kenobi do that before then?
Because he had Luke. He had hope in Luke.
Yeah, but I'm saying like why didn't Kenobi prime Vader for Luke then as well, you know? So I don't think Kenobi could communicate with Vader because I think Vader was blocking Kenobi out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you have to be willing to, like, kind of receive the message in order to get the message.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, Force ghosts would just be driving each other crazy throughout eternity. You know, like...
I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you.
The Emperor's trying to get sleep, and, you know, like, Obi-Wan Kenobi's just like, you know, 99 bottles of beer on the wall, 99 bottles of beer. I am Henry VIII, I am. Like, will you shut up, you idiot? I can't wait till I die so I can, you know, torture you for eternity.
Yeah. I'll become more powerful than even you can imagine.
But I like the idea. I like the idea to the point where, like, I would try and find a way of actually fitting it in, but I think that where Star Wars went astray is in that they lost sight of what the Force is and the limitations of it within the confines of the universe.
Yeah.
And you have to, like, for me, I'm always asking the question, like, why didn't they do that before then, when we had, like, Jedi that were trained, you know, fully trained Jedi, and they never used these different things.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with somebody having, like, a unique person having a unique skill, because we've kind of seen that before, you know?
Right. Yeah.
But I'm not okay with, like, every Jedi now being able to, like, force push, and every Jedi being able to, like levitate. And I'm like, what? I'm like, like, wouldn't the Emperor have levitated if they could levitate?
Yeah,
if they could
like,
just
threw
fly?
Him over.
Yeah, like, if they can fly, why don't do that? If they can grab people out of the air, why didn't Vader grab Luke out of the air? You're gonna tell me Vader can't grab Luke?
Yeah.
Like, what like, where are the rules here? And you guys just completely jumped the shark on the rules because you played too many video games.
Right.
And the video game rules shouldn't apply to the movie rules. So
yeah. There are limitations to these characters.
Yeah.
There's like when Luke is training and Yoda's balancing on his foot and then he falls over.
Yes.
Yoda falls.
Yeah.
And like yells. Like Yoda, the most powerful Jedi alive.
Yeah.
Like falls 6 feet?
Yeah. And he's like 900. You don't think a 900-year-old would catch themselves if they could? He probably would have caught himself. But I think...
Embarrassing way to die.
I think that's the strategy that Yoda gives, but it's not necessarily how it turns out. I think the way it turns out is actually similar to how it turned out in the movie, because I think Leia is now going to hold on to hope of, like, I think where, like, she feels like, I don't know, maybe Yoda can tell her something like, you know, like, Luke kind of felt like he could turn Vader.
Yeah.
At the end, I kind of sensed Luke feeling
Yoda's
that he could turn Vader, and he was mistaken.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? But then Leia...
Luke's young, he's naive.
Yeah.
He doesn't know any better.
And I think Leia at this point is going to feel like, you can't turn him. He's crazy. I've been tortured by this guy before, because she got kind of tortured by him in New Hope. It's not going to happen. But at the point where she actually meets Vader, I think she's now had a little bit of Force training from Yoda, just a tiny bit, so that she can like communicate with Force Ghost Ben and that kind of stuff, and Yoda if she needs to. And now when she meets Vader, she actually can sense there is something in him.
Yeah.
And Luke was right. And I think even though she's not as powerful as Luke at this point, she doesn't fight him, but now she's like, I think I can turn him.
Yeah.
And now she's going in that direction. And I think it's more the kind of father-daughter dynamic relationship. Because it's like, it makes sense that Luke is like, I think you can turn. Then Vader's like, yeah, but like sons and fathers have a like more competitive, combative relationship. So we're going to fight.
Yeah. I'm gonna promise you the family business, but we don't know if you're actually going to get
but we're going to have to wrestle for it.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to beat me like that easily. So, but I think with Leia, the dynamic is going to be a little bit different. And it's going to be because they just fathers and daughters just have a different dynamic, and I think we play into that. And I think she actually, one of the Emperor is actually telling her that he like she's going to turn to the dark side. Now Vader is actually seeing like this is a possibility that might happen, and I don't know. Now that I'm seeing it in real time, I don't think I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
And now Vader and the Emperor are the ones that actually have to fight. Sort of like Luke and Vader had the fight. Now Vader and the Emperor are having this fight.
Yeah.
And you're getting to see like these two kind of like in full action go at it.
Yeah.
And I think it does. I think it ends once again with Vader throwing the Emperor down the shaft.
Yeah.
But Vader sort of is like sacrificing his life once again in order to defeat the Emperor.
Yeah.
So the plan, Yoda's strategy is a good strategy if all things fail and you can manage to rule the galaxy with Vader, which is what Vader wants. He wants to rule the galaxy with his family.
Yeah.
So if all things fail, that's the strategy, and that I think is the strategy Yoda would give. Being like, we lost. This is now the last resort. We have to go with this strategy. Now... but now, like, it ends very similar to Return of the Jedi, where Vader sacrifices himself in order to save his child, and now Leia is the one who's now gets to take over and rule the galaxy as like the rebel force rather than as the Empire.
Yeah.
The ending, though, is a little bit different.
Okay.
So you could still have the whole Ewok shield thing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
And the second Death Star, and you could have Lando on the ground.
Yeah.
With Leia before Leia ends up getting kind of like where Leia's now like in Luke's position, where Leia still meets up with the Ewoks, and then Leia ends up leaving. She senses Vader, leaves to go meet with Vader, like Luke did. So you still have that happen. Lando's on the ground doing that, and then you have. Like Wedge, Akbar, and those guys. And Chewbacca is now in the Falcon. Flying the Falcon.
So Lando's on the ground, Chewbacca's in the... Okay.
Yeah, you could maybe have Chewbacca on the ground, but I think it's better having Chewie in the Falcon.
Yeah.
You put Chewie in the Falcon, Lando on the ground, so that Lando finishes the job on the ground. And then he's just like, it's up to you, Chewbacca. And then, Chewbacca's flying the Falcon, which would be a cool thing to see. And then him and Wedge are the ones who destroy the Death Star, the second Death Star.
Yeah.
Right? Now, you don't have the Ewok celebration. What you have at the end is you now have the entire Rebel fleet with Empire ships show up at Jabba's palace.
Oh.
And now... they're going in and they're taking out Jabba's people, like storming Jabba's palace, like lasers and stuff, killing everybody. Then I'm like getting emotional right now. Then I'm hoping I can hold it together.
We're gonna save Han, man.
Then
it's a big deal.
she saves Han.
Yeah.
They end up getting Han.
Han's in the slave outfit.
They get They get
She's like, oh my god.
they get Han, and then you have like that same line where like Han's like in her arms, and Han's like what is this? Who are you? I can't see. And she's like she's like someone who loves you, and it ends. Da, 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 da.
Yeah. Written by George
ends.
Lucas. Kind of.
yeah. Story by George Lucas. Kind of. That's the kind of. But that's
no, I have a lot of respect for George Lucas. I do.
Yeah. I think that's I think that would actually make for a good Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Maybe even a better Return of the Jedi, actually.
More Ewoks.
You know, because it's like you don't like rescuing Han Solo. I think would actually be a super impactful ending.
Yeah.
Like very impactful.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that the only thing that we would have to change is the title.
Yeah.
Because there is no return. The Jedi has died. So now it's like Jedi Arise or something like that. You know.
I think I mean, you may be able to keep the title if Yoda has some line in there.
I have returned. I have.
Return of the Yoda.
Yeah. He's a Jedi. He's returned.
But
or is it in reference to Vader? He just comes back to the light side.
Maybe it is
in Jedi.
Yeah, maybe it is in reference to Vader.
Okay, we can keep the title.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm satisfied with
that. If it changes, it changes. That's not a big deal. But I don't know. I think that's actually a really interesting. Would make for an interesting thing, and I think rescuing Han at the beginning of Return of the Jedi is actually not the right way to go, because it's now you feel like there's this cliffhanger in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Then in Return of the Jedi, they now settle all scores, other than the Empire. Yeah. And it's almost like it would almost be better if you have Han in carbonite looming over you for the whole movie. Then at the end of the movie, now we've settled all scores. Now we've gotten Han back. Now we've dealt with the fact that Luke's gone.
Yeah.
Like there is somebody else who can take care of this. And Leia's the person who can take care of it. Luke's not going to be the hero every single time.
Yeah.
Now we've settled Vader and the Emperor and the Empire. Now it's all been settled, and it's sort of like wrapped up in this nice little bow, and it kind of leaves you feeling good about it and good for what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
And now, like, the Death Star blowing up and the Ewoks singing isn't the big finale. The big finale is the personal relationship, that we have with Han Solo, and the fact that he gets rescued from this movie. And Harrison Ford doesn't want to be Han Solo anyway, so he would be happy. He'd be happy making money for a 10-second scene.
Yeah. And I don't want to like get into it, but the whole Kylo Ren arc might not happen if Luke didn't train Kylo Ren. Now Kylo Ren's being trained by his mom.
Yeah.
Might have had a different arc. Might have had a kind of a different upbringing. Yeah. So there's that to consider too. I'm not going to. But I'm just throwing that out.
Are you happy where this landed?
I am happy where this landed. It actually seems like a really like a watchable movie that's like impactful. It kind of, it holds the same spirit as like what Return of the Jedi was going for. Yeah. I would watch it. That sounds awesome.
I need to get my list. So while you're explaining it, I'm going to get the list.
Okay. All right. The Desert Island movies. It's just your Desert Island movies. You're going to end up on a desert island, and you have a bunch of movies that you have to pick from, and you can only take 5 because plane's going down, and you have no time to do it. I'm going to be trying to guess what Antho's Desert Island movies might be, and he's going to try and guess what mine might be. What are you laughing at? Wait, he might not be able to hear me yet because of the earbuds.
What? Did you do it?
Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, in the infinite me messing things up. I can't keep track of anything.
No, I did a fine job holding everyone's attention.
Yeah.
So did you want to like try and guess one of mine, and I try and guess one of yours?
Yeah,
or
I think we try and guess. Did you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I'm gonna go first.
Okay.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here.
Yes.
Because the Desert Island movie, just to give a little more context, it's a little different from your favorite movie. Like there's a measure of like rewatchability. So it's not just like the best movies. It's not your like, oh, this is the greatest movie ever made, so I have to like I have to take this. It's something you're gonna be stuck with this movie, so you have to be able to throw it on any time, and it's still a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
So I'm going out on a limb here because this is a movie that I'm sure you think is one of the best ever.
Okay. Yeah.
But also has that rewatchability where you could just keep watching it over and over.
Yes.
I'm going to say Braveheart.
Yes. Braveheart's my number one. You got that. Yeah, dead on. Braveheart is... So, like, if the plane is going down or the ship is sinking...
Yeah.
And I'm looking at, like, the DVD collection on the wall, Braveheart's the first movie I'm grabbing.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
It's the first one. Do you want my secondary, where like I'm reaching for it, I can't get Braveheart,
and you decided on Braveheart over this movie?
Yes, and I'm going. Now I have to reach out for the movie where I'm like, well, if I can't get Braveheart, I'm gonna get this movie. So it's not my number two. It's the like, it's It's the
replacement.
It's the replacement of the Braveheart. Do you want to try and guess what you think it is, or do you want me to just say it?
I mean, I would assume it would be a similar movie.
Yes.
So I'd probably go along the lines of like Gladiator.
No.
Oh.
Okay, you want it?
Yeah, what is it?
Last of the Mohicans.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I should have been able to guess that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Do you want me to try and guess
one of mine?
I'm gonna guess the General.
Ooh, that's a really good guess. I did not have that on my list. I did not have it on any of my lists.
Any of them? Okay. Wow. What?
Yeah, I know. Well, okay. So can I explain a little bit of my process?
Yes.
So I tried to pick movies that were kind of sort of different genres, or at least like different feels.
Yeah.
So I have a comedy, but I have just one comedy.
Okay.
And it's like, if I had to pick a comedy that I could just watch over and over again, this is the one I'm going to pick. And then I also have a horror film.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is the horror film that I feel like I got it. Like, this is the one I got to pick. Mm-hmm. And then there's a different feel, for like the other movies. Like, they're not specifically a genre, but it's like, know, there's stuff.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Do you have any black and white films?
No, surprisingly, no.
Yeah, so there's no black and white. Okay, so now that kind of like narrows it down. Like for me, I don't have any horror films. Can I guess your horror film?
Guess my horror, yeah, okay.
I'm going to guess The Shining.
That is on my replacement list.
Really? So The Shining is the replacement if you can't grab... Yes.
You want me to tell you? It's...
Yes.
It Follows.
Oh, great. I never would have guessed that you would have picked that. Yeah. I think, I was telling people It Follows is the best horror film of this century, of the, 2000s up.
Like 2000 to now?
Yeah, 2000 to now, I think It Follows is the best horror film that we've gotten.
Yeah, when it comes to rewatchability, it's... I think that it's just the best one for me. But yeah, The Shining was kind of on... It was on my... my replacement list. But yeah, I had to kind of. Oh, you know what? Okay.
What?
My list is a little weird, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
The reason why I didn't pick a horror film is because I'm alone on this island, and there's no freaking way I'm watching something scary. There's
you hear
no
a noise
way.
in the bushes. You're like,
yeah. There's no way, dude. I was like surprised you picked the horror. I was like, there's no way I can go with the horror film because I'm not going to be able to handle it while I'm by myself.
I mean, you've seen me with horror.
Yeah,
yeah. All right.
Okay. So
I have another guess for you.
Yes.
I'm going out on another limb here.
Right?
Because it's It's not a good movie. But I know that you watch it a lot.
Okay.
Jaws 3.
So Jaws 3 is not on my list, but it's not on any of my. It's nowhere near it. But it is. It's one that I considered. But like I thought of it when I was thinking of the list, but I was like, no. So like my list is actually, I would say, all of them are good movies.
Okay, then I'm gonna say RoboCop.
Yeah. Yes. So RoboCop is my number 2 alt movie that I would grab if I couldn't grab. Yes, I'm reaching for this movie. I can't get it. I grab RoboCop instead. Do you want what my number 2 is?
Yes.
It's weird how these two movies, for some reason, are capturing the same feel, but they're so different. My number 2 is Life is Beautiful.
Ooh.
And RoboCop is the alt to that one.
That is weird.
Yeah.
That's an interesting...
But they both deal with the struggles of humanity and staying kind of like positive and finding your humanity in the midst of terror.
Yeah.
Like one of them is sort of like he's in this, in Life is Beautiful, he's in this horrible World War II situation.
Yeah.
And then RoboCop is in this horrible dystopian robotic future situation.
Yeah.
And they both, I think, obviously I think Life is Beautiful does a better job of like capturing humanity. But they both...
Otherwise you would have picked RoboCop.
Yeah, they both have that theme.
Yeah.
And when I thought of like, well, if I couldn't grab Life is Beautiful, what would I grab? And there's really not a whole lot of other movies that really capture that feel for me. Yeah. And RoboCop was the next one that was like really close that I also love and would love to be able to grab. But I wouldn't take it with me as my top 5 unless I had to, unless I couldn't grab one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Do you want? Can I take a guess?
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess The Godfather.
No, it's on my honorable mentions.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's just so good and it's so entertaining.
Yeah.
But like, it's if it's something I have to watch over and over again, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think I'm having a tough time guessing yours. Let me guess your comedy.
Okay.
It's a Mad World.
No. Oh, that's a good guess.
You gotta be kidding.
No, I went way more on like the dumb side of things. Yeah. Where it's like I just want to be entertained, so I'm just gonna watch like fun movies. Yeah. I'm stuck on a desert island, like you want to hear my comedy?
Yes, I want to hear your comedy.
Tommy Boy.
You went with Tommy Boy.
I went with Tommy Boy, and I went with Tommy Boy over.
Yes.
My secondary, Raising Arizona.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah, but I feel like no, it kind of makes sense because I didn't want to pick anything that was like felt like a downer while I'm alone, and I wanted stuff that was more
upbeat.
Yeah, upbeat and felt like the Tommy Boy is kind of like a buddy thing, so it's got that human movie. Yeah, it's got that human relationship. Raising Arizona feels a little bit more like abstract in the human relationship aspect. So I don't want to get
too introspective when I'm alone on an island.
Yeah.
And I've been told that that Tommy Boy and Raising Arizona seem to be like kind of my biggest influences for my films. Or like when they watch like my comedy, particularly the Golden Boys. Like, it's kind of got that buddy feel. But yeah, like Raising Arizona, like my wife Breeze told me that like, man, I can really see like the influence that this movie's had on your movies. Like you seem to really enjoy these two.
Yeah.
So yeah, Tommy Boy. Tommy Boy was the one I went with.
Oh gosh. I don't know if I don't think I have a straight up comedy. Like they're comedies, but I think they're also like a mixed genre.
My next guess was going to be a comedy.
Okay.
I was going to guess Groundhog Day.
I do not have Groundhog's Day.
Okay.
It's not even. It wouldn't even. Yeah, it's not even on like the list. Do you want to hear what my comedy is?
Yeah.
I went with The Wedding Singer.
Oh man, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's really good.
Yeah. My secondary to that,
Yeah.
if I couldn't grab The Wedding Singer, I would have grabbed Say Anything.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Because I think
I wouldn't have expected that. I was gonna so I was gonna I guess Groundhog Day, and if it wasn't Groundhog Day, then I was gonna guess Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
oh, yeah. No, I think yeah. It's tough because it's almost like it's tough because when you're thinking of like somebody's DVD collection, it's different than what they would grab that they think would get them through a situation like being on a desert island.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, so yeah, I think, yeah, but The Wedding Singer I think would be a great one just because it's the music, it's upbeat, it's got like its low point, but then it like bounces back and you know it's fun.
Yeah, that might be my biggest problem is I don't really have like a lot of music in my choices.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Did you wanna go for another guess, or did you want me to?
Oh my gosh.
I know.
I'm striking out so hard. Another guess. Rocky.
One of them.
Rocky's one of them.
They're one of the Rockies.
Oh, and it's not Rocky because otherwise I would have gotten it. It's not. It's not 2. It's not 3. It's got to be. It's. I mean, it's either 4 or 6, right? Right? Is it 4?
Yeah, it's 4.
Rocky 4.
Yeah.
You would bring Rocky 4 with you.
Rocky 4 is the most fun.
It is, yeah. I mean, it makes sense. It is a ridiculously fun movie.
Yeah.
You're not thinking of runtime, though. It's a very short film.
I know. It's really short.
Like, I was kind of keeping runtime in mind as well. Like,
I was not.
Really?
That might have been a good idea. But yeah, I did not go down that path.
Wow. Okay. What number was Rocky 4 at?
I didn't put them in a specific order.
Okay.
Because that I think would have just been too
would have been too difficult.
But it's also like because these are just the way I'm looking at these movies is they're supposed to be entertaining me.
Yes. Yeah.
And keeping my interest while I'm alone on a desert island. So it's like I'm not really thinking of them in terms of ranking. I'm more thinking of them like here's my deck of cards. Here's my 52 cards, and I need all 52 in order to entertain me. You know?
Yeah. That you're trying. Yeah, I was trying to do that too, where I felt like any mood I might potentially be in, one of these is gonna fit it, and kind of keep my spirits up and make me feel like I've got like a human connection with other people. You know?
Yeah. So you got Braveheart. You got Life is Beautiful.
Yes.
You got Say Anything.
I've got The Wedding Singer was my.
Oh yeah. Okay, you're right. The Wedding Singer.
Yeah.
And geez, you have 2 more.
I've got 2 more. Yeah.
Did you only have one comedy? Or were the other 2 kind of comedies too?
The other 2 probably would be considered. They're Well, one of them is comedy adjacent, I'd say, but it's more like a. It's more like they're more like maybe dramas, you know. They're hard, yeah.
What? I have no idea.
Do you
what
want me to give you? I'll give you a hint. I'm always talking about this movie from this century, from the 2000s up, being the best movie of the century.
Silver Linings Playbook.
Yes, Silver Linings Playbook is my number 3. Yeah.
Silver Linings Playbook is pretty dang good.
Yeah. I understand why when people aren't like they're like Silver Linings Playbook, like that was good.
Yeah.
But the reason why I like it so much is because it's firing on all cylinders. Like it's funny. The acting is superb.
Yeah.
It's got the love story kind of going in. It's weird. It's
it's distinct. It has a feel.
It's intelligent. it's just firing on all cylinders. Like the only thing it doesn't really have in it is like great action scenes.
Right.
But I actually was avoiding action scenes in this list.
Yeah.
Specifically because I felt like I probably wouldn't care so much to watch the action stuff when I'm trapped on an island where I have to do my own hunting and my own, like, I'm getting the action I need by like walking and finding water and, finding resources. I'm not really going to need to see like the Matrix
Interesting.
for this cool action scenes, because like I'm already doing that stuff. I need the human relatability stuff and the
My
good
remaining
feels.
two are action.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
but like flamboyant, fun to watch, colorful action,
Okay, my first guess is Die Hard.
Die Hard, I had to put on my honorable mentions list.
Okay, so it is there.
Yeah. But I was going more for like a fun action rather than like a grungy action.
Yeah. It's not Lethal Weapon, right?
No, I kind of put that in with Die Hard.
Yeah. A fun action film.
Yeah.
Let me guess this one then, because my secondary Silver Linings Playbook, if I couldn't grab Silver Linings Playbook, was The Princess Bride.
Oh my gosh, that's a really good pick.
Yeah.
And I probably would have put that in my secondary if I had thought about it.
Yeah. What is it then? What is your action film?
I have two action films.
Yes.
And one of them is Kingsman: The Secret Service.
Really? You put Kingsman in there?
Kingsman.
Wow. I'm surprised how much you like that film. It's good. I like it. It's good, but yeah.
Yeah. There are a few movies that I feel like, wow, like this is entertaining from beginning to end.
Yeah.
Kingsman's one of those where I feel like, yeah, this was extremely well done from beginning to end.
Yeah.
So it's actually the first movie that popped into my head when we decided to do this.
Yeah. Huh. My last film.
Yeah.
And this one I actually have at number 5. I don't know. I think maybe like my first 3 were probably like in order. And then after that I was like, whatever, 4, 5, like whatever.
Yeah.
But my last one is we were just talking about this film.
Snow Falling on Cedars.
No. Snow Falling on Cedars isn't in the list because it's a downer film.
Yeah.
It's kind of a low energy.
It would have to be Empire Strikes Back.
Yes. Empire Strikes Back is on my list. Do you know what the secondary to that one is? Another sci-fi film that I love.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you would have picked Dune.
Yes. So, Dune with Kyle MacLachlan, the David Lynch Dune, is... Yeah, here's the funny story behind Dune, since we've already talked about Empire Strikes Back, and I think everyone understands why I would pick that movie, because I love that film. But a funny story about Dune is I was flying one time, and I was talking to this like woman, and we were talking about Dune. Somehow Dune came up.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh yeah, like, I hate that stupid movie. And I'm like, yeah, I love that movie. She's like, oh, well, she's like, that makes sense. Like, she's like, you wouldn't like it if you read the book. And I was like, I read the book. I like the movie better. And she like looked at me.
Yeah.
And then we never talked again. Like, she just looked at me and she was like, I'm going to go read. And she just started reading her like Mockingjay Hunger Games book. And
Dune.
we never said another word to each other. I mean, she was some random person, but like we were talking for like a good like 20 minutes, and then that came up, and it was like, done
like,
with you.
Clearly, this man is a serial killer.
People, the degree to which people love the book Dune and then hate the movie is like, it's almost like somebody being like a Red Sox fan and someone being a Yankees fan, and then they just cannot have a conversation with each other because of it.
Yeah, I remember hating the movie, and then I was like, let me watch it again, give it another chance. And then like the whole time watching it the second time, I was like talking to myself. I was watching it by myself, but I was like talking like, why the hell did they do that? Like, why are they like, shut up with the narration. Like, if I wanted to read a book, I would have read a book. Show me a movie. And like I was just complaining the entire time. I do not like that movie.
I love that movie.
Yeah,
and it's
you do.
It's one of those things It's just one of those things
Yeah.
where for some reason there's no other movie like it. And so I think a lot of people are like, for good reason. But if
You
for
like that
whatever reason it
distinct-
captures you, because I've talked to
Yeah.
people who like the movie and they are like fanatically in love with the movie, where they're like,
Yeah.
you need to watch this movie. You've
Yeah,
never
yeah.
seen Dune? Oh my God. And then you watch
Right.
it, and then you're showing it to people, and they're like, "What are you showing me? That's garbage."
Yeah.
It's
It's
just,
garbage.
it's just one of those. I mean, it's just this one of those movies. It's snowfall. It's the snow falling on cedars of sci-fi films.
Yeah. Yeah.
Snow falling on cedars is very similar though, where there's a lot of like kind of narration, and
Yeah.
it has
Kind of
that
like weird like echo
Yes.
type stuff.
Yes, there's a weird OCD
Yeah.
ness to both those films where they feel very OCD, like an OCD person wrote or did it. And when you're OCD, you understand those films very well and you really enjoy them because you're like, this captures how I feel. Like the constant narration in my head, the like repeated, the just repeating of stuff. It just, it really captures that feel so well. And no other movie does it.
Well,
where are we?
I think there's a reason. I have one more. I have one more on my
You have
list.
one more. Can you give me genre, possibly like year, so I can. Shut up. Is it Spider-Man? Did you just hint me with Spider-Man?
I mean, so if I had to pick between the many, many, many Spider-Man movies, this is the one that I would have picked.
You would pick Spider-Man 2, Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
That
That is a great pick.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Really
good.
It's kind of funny because like I didn't pick any of the movies from the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
But I do like as like an honorable mention. Like I could have very easily picked Winter Soldier or Infinity War or Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
But I was like, if I had to pick a Spider-Man movie, it would have to be that Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2. I didn't tell you any of my honorable mentions, or not the honorable mentions, my secondaries.
Yeah.
The only one you were aware of was The Shining.
Okay. Yes.
So this is where all of the great movies are. The great movies that like hit fire on all cylinders.
Yeah.
So I told you The Shining. I told you Raising Arizona.
Yeah.
The Empire Strikes Back is on my secondary.
Oh, what was the first for Empire Strikes Back?
I don't know. I didn't have like.
Oh, you didn't have a like. If I couldn't
No,
grab this one, I'd grab this one. Okay, yeah.
These are just my secondary five.
Yeah.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh yeah. I definitely thought of that one.
And Back to the Future.
Oh yeah, I thought of that one too. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Just because.
Like, I had a whole bunch of honorable mentions that I was just like, I told you most of them. But it's like, Winter Soldier, Infinity War, Guardians of the Galaxy are my Marvel movies.
Yeah.
And then I told you The Godfather, told you Die Hard.
Yeah.
The Thing.
Oh, yes.
Terminator 2.
Okay, yeah.
The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
And the first Rocky.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Did you explain while I was away that like we couldn't pick, like you can't just say Rocky and then get all Rocky films. You can't say Lord of the Rings, get all the Lord of the Rings.
I didn't explain that, but it has to be one movie. Like you can't pick the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Because I mean, I definitely would have taken like Lord of the Rings trilogy or like Die Hard, all the Die Hard movies, or you know what I mean?
Right. That doesn't
count.
It
would have been easy to like kind of to be, if you were choosing like that, I wouldn't be picking probably any single movies. I'd be picking like, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and now I've got like like 30 movies.
Yeah.
Guardians is the only Marvel one I would bring because all the other ones are connected. And Guardians is like the most complete its own story.
Yeah.
And it's also probably like my number 2 Marvel film. Like Infinity War might be like my number 1.
Yeah.
But Infinity War is so tied in that I just couldn't bring it with me because it's like I can't watch the other stuff.
Infinity War, I think so. I disagree. I think that Infinity War works by itself.
Yeah.
And the reason for why is because they structured Infinity War with Thanos as the protagonist.
Yeah.
And I almost didn't even realize it until the very last scene.
Mm-hmm.
And then they play the music, and the last note is a hopeful note.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, we did it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a sad ending, and then the music's like, yay!
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, Thanos was the protagonist.
Yeah.
Like, and because they structure it that way, it's his journey trying to fight everybody else and, like, accomplish it, and he does. And I don't know. I think it's an incredible film, and I do think that it stands by itself.
Yeah, I think
That's just me.
Well, I think it does a good job of standing by itself.
Yeah.
However, like, if you're stuck on this island for 20 years, then now you've got 20 years removed from watching the Doctor Strange, the Ant-Man, the
so
whatever.
now you just agree with Thanos.
Yeah,
now you're just on Thanos' side.
Now you're like, I don't even remember what that is referencing, or you're losing that connection to this whole build-up to this movie. That's more like where I was going with it. Like, you wouldn't, like, you wouldn't probably want to bring, like, the Lord of the Rings movie, like, somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, like the Two Towers.
Yeah, because then you're, like, losing that connection, even though we both are going to bring Empire Strikes Back, you know.
Right.
But
yeah, Empire's the best one.
Yeah, come on. Do you want me to, like, quickly read off my alternate movies that I would have brought if I couldn't bring the other ones?
Yeah.
Okay, Sound of Music.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lawrence of Arabia.
All right.
Yeah.
You really thought of runtime, didn't you?
Yeah. So I was thinking runtime, you know, and just those weird human connection kind of movies.
Yeah.
City Lights.
Yeah.
The Village.
Wait.
I'd bring The Village.
The Village?
Yeah. Because the love story in it
surprises me.
It is my favorite love story of all time.
It really is incredible.
And the connection between, like, those two is so wonderful.
Yeah.
That I feel like if I was on an island, I would watch it up until the part where he gets stabbed, and then I would just shut it off. No, I'd probably watch the whole thing.
No, yeah.
Because I'm not a fan of the ending, but
you're not a fan of the twist.
I love everything up to the twist of that film.
Yeah.
Where I think it's
like
the best. I think it's the best. I think it's his best movie.
Yeah.
Like, the older I get, the more I'm like, that's his best movie up to the twist. The twist, I wish the twist never happened. I wish he just didn't do a twist and he kept it like a love story.
Yeah.
And there are stupid monsters out there. And and she's just going for it. I really like that.
Yeah.
My last one is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Really? Wow.
So because once again, like, I didn't have a Tarantino, and I was actually thinking, like, what's a Tarantino I would like to bring with me?
Yeah.
And they're all so violent, and there's, like, kind of down moments in them. And I feel like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is, like, really ends on, like, a high note. Granted, it's violent at the end, but it doesn't really have that violence up to it. And I feel like there's that buddiness between Cliff and what's his face, DiCaprio and the stuntman.
Oh yeah.
There's that buddy aspect there that I like, that I really enjoyed.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And then there's the runtime too, which is a big plus.
Yeah. I feel like all my last movies were, like, you know, higher runtime on them.
Yeah. Is that your honorable mentions? Or
those are that's it. Those are my honorable mentions.
All right. Well, we're running pretty late. We might need to get to reinventing the wheel in the next episode.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think that those are some pretty good pages.
All right. Awesome.
So I'll see you next time, brother.
All right. Later, brother.